Hello, this is Mix from Mix Training, and today I'm going to show you how to make an amazing asset in Houdini and use it in Unreal Engine through the Houdini engine, which is pretty cool. So let's start by looking at the asset in Unreal Engine. So this is what it's going to be created. So let's play, and you can see I have this scene. This fence is what we're going to be looking at. All those lights are being created by the asset. You can see we can go through the lights, kind of foggy light stuff, and it looks pretty cool. It has collisions. Now if we stop and go out, you can see this is all done with 3 of the versions of the asset, or 3 instances. So if I select the asset here and I select the point, you can see this asset is modifiable. It's going to be taking a little bit to update. See, we can modify it really quick. We can add a new point there, and this is all being calculated by Houdini in the background. You can see I'm adding a little bit more here. I can move this point here and this point here. I can play again, and those changes are already there. If I go there, the shaders are compiled. You can see this is the area I just made, and it's pretty cool. Alright, that is pretty awesome. We have some other settings here in the properties. If we don't want to see something like the lamps, we don't have any lamps, just remove them. Then the supports of the barbed wire there, or the actual barbed wire, we can modify the height of the fence here, and we can remove the noise from the barbed wire there to make it more uniform. We can add or remove damage to the fence. You can see the fence is a little bit damaged there, like it's being moved around, or something crashed, or it's just a little bit older, or if it's just fresh and new, you wanna have that look. There you go. You can show the supports again, shows those supports on the top, and it's pretty cool. And all this comes, most of it comes directly from Houdini with the combination of some assets in Unreal. So let's see how this is built in the Houdini side. So switch to Houdini. You can see this is the asset right here. In Houdini it's the same thing. If I go to where that curve is being controlled, see, this is the curve that controls the whole thing. If I move a point, you can see it updates like it did in Unreal. So let's take a little overview of how this is built. It's going to be very simple. This is the properties that we have in the asset exposed to Unreal Engine here. So it's basically making an asset for Unreal Engine is just a little bit different. It's not that super different. If you already know how to make assets in Unreal, in Houdini, you might be able to just pick a bit of tips and you can make assets for Unreal Engine. So right, like I said, let's go inside this guy here, which is the main fence. You can see it has all the properties here again. Again, the same thing. If you height stuff, supports the fence. If you just want to have like the top, put it on top of something else. So let's go inside. You can see it's not that complex here. It's just a few things. So let's go first with the fence, and the fence is the main object there. And we start with a curve, and let me hide everything else. So it's just a simple curve, and you can draw this curve however you want, and everything will follow along this. So the base of the asset is just based on this curve. Everything is based on this curve. We have a switch here. If you input a curve, your own curve in Unreal Engine, this will be the curve that will be used. So based on this curve, we do a few things here. This we just set normals here. Then we resample it to add more. Resample it to add more divisions here. Then we just duplicate it, move it up here. Create a group that we want to use later. Merge those, skin it to make it the base of the fence. Then create UVs, which is pretty cool. In Houdini, you can just create the UVs and it will be procedurally transfer to whatever geometry you start creating in Unreal. In this case, I'm doing UVs for every face. So this face is just being, each of these faces are being mapped into the UV space. Then I just create a duplicate UV2. It's the same as the original UVs. This UV2 is used for light baking in Unreal, so it's very important that you have that. Then I just apply a material here, which is pretty simple. Is that fence link? It's just a PNG with transparency. It just repeats a lot of times. And then I have a point jitter, which this does this noise on the fence, which is the controls the fence damage here parameter. So if you don't want any damage, I'm just controlling this scale on the point jitter there. You can see it's controlled there. But the damage looks pretty cool because it looks like zombies smash against it or were trying to catch it or something. Then I just cut it in half here to add a little bit of a support beam in the middle. Houdini has this very amazing polywire tool that just takes the wireframe of your mesh and makes it thick, which in this case helps to make those like support beams or pipes there. Just clean up a little bit the points there and apply material to those. Then just merge and we have that the fence completed here, the chain link and the support there. Then here's just another object I use for prototyping in Unreal Engine. So if we go back to Unreal, you can see moving this point sometimes it's a little bit slow. It's not that slow, but it is a little bit slow. So if you want a little bit more interaction here, or else it's getting too big, you can just go here to the prototyping, and then it gives you this very simple wall that you can just move really quick and add points to this. You can see I can add. Still, it's not a set amount of points. I can keep adding to this, and it will be adding walls. So it's pretty cool to prototype like this your levels. Then once you say, okay, this is what I want, turn that off and Houdini generates everything that it needs to create there. Pretty cool, right? This prototyping stuff even creates collisions, so you can prototype and test with that. You can see I can't go through that. So even if you don't want to be just creating the final assets yet, just to prototyping, you can use that for testing as well. And that is being created here in Houdini, again using the same input as the curve, just extruding that up, and that is what it's creating that. And at the end here I just have some switches for showing or hiding the fence and the normals, adding normals at the end. Then after that we go to the barbed wire on the top there, which is pretty cool. You can see it there. It's just coiling around there at the top. And this, it's very simple as well. It's based on the curve. So I import the same curve here. You can see it's actually the top curve. And then I just resample that again to add more divisions. And I add normals to it. I create some coils here. You can see I create a coil there. Just one loop. Then I made a lot of copies of of that coil on the curve. Then I just fuse the points to connect them and extrude that to create thickness. Make it like a flat piece of paper that I use later here to add that material on top of it. And then I just add a mountain sub to add that noise there, which is pretty cool. Looks pretty more jagged. If you don't want that, there's a parameter to deactivate that. Then here I'm doing, on this side I'm doing, again, taking the same curve and adding some parameters here, just making a copy of this, pulling it up, and then creating normals pointing to that second curve, so I can create this object. It's just a simple support object, and I copy that to those points there. You can see they are pointing in the direction that I set the normals. That was the reason for the normals. Then here I branch here and I just copy some lines as well to those normals. I add points to those. In those points I'm just gonna join those points to create like wires, support wires on that. Just polywire that again to give to create actual geometry. Add the UVs as well, and add materials, and there you go. There's the supports. Cool, right? So that's the output of that one, which I then just put it in a separate object just for control. And then I create this collision geometry, which is needed by Unreal to actually collide with the object. So I take the actual geometry of the fence, which is just the fence with the material. I remove the material here, extrude it to give it thickness, so it's better to collide with it. Just transform it a little bit high to cover up to here to the area of the coils. You can make better geometry for collisions if you want. For me this works. I just set the alpha to 0 so I don't see it. And the very important part here for the collisions is this group. You have to create a group that contains the whole geometry that you're gonna use as collisions, and name that group exactly this, collision_geo. There's no other way to add this collision. You have to do it like this, or this is what the Houdini engine is expecting to find. So alright, now the lamps here are a little bit different, and the lamps are just instances, and instances work pretty cool in Houdini to Unreal Engine. You can see I have the street lamp here. If I go inside that, there's just one lamp there. So I'm just instancing this lamp into a few points. So inside the instance points, I just have those points that I take in from the curve as well. You can see there's a little bit of points there. Then I just create this attribute, the Houdini engine specs, which is an instance attribute. It's a string attribute, and contains the name of the object, which is just saying get the operator one level out of this node, which is here, and then another level out, which is here, and then get this object. And that's what it's creating those instances there. Just put this to full point instances so you can see those here. Now the lights are a little bit different. These lights are these lights here. There are at every lamp here in Unreal, and you can see I have a pretty cool light setup here. So what is happening here is I have what I created are just some points that are being copied, and then I just created 2 points to see where those points are gonna be actually located on the if I just show everything else, you can see I have 2 points there just to set what the object will be instanced. In this case, I'm not instancing any objects here in Houdini. You can see I have a very nice setup here. I'm setting a parameter that is called Unreal Instance, and then I'm giving it the name of my blueprint in Unreal Engine, which is pretty cool. You can see if I go back to Unreal Engine, in my blueprints, I have this lamp light object here, which is this guy here. So I'm saying in Houdini, when you use this asset in Unreal Engine, just give me that asset from that blueprint from the engine and instance set in those points, which is pretty cool. And I'm using a similar trick for the lamp colliders here, which is, this is not included in the collision for the fence. So what I'm doing is just creating with those points as well, where the lamps are being instanced. I'm creating another Unreal Instance parameter here, which is just saying in those points, give me that lamp collision asset, which is, if you go here, lamp collision, you can see this is here. This is just a collision object that is going to be instanced in all objects on those lamps. You can actually see it here. It's here, right there. That's the instance object there, surrounding that lamp there. All right, so you can see it there. It is. I have it selected now. So what else in Houdini? There's a few things that you need to know and a few tricks that you need to know to get this working. If you want to create a curve that is being controlled, you need to set a parameter here in your asset. Edit this asset. This took me a while to figure it out, but it is really simple. So in your asset, go to the nodes tab, and in the editable nodes here, put the name, the path or your curve that you want to expose to Unreal for controlling the asset. So you can see if I go inside here, this is says this inside fence, so it's go inside fence, and it's curve 1 here. So this is the object that I'm exposing in Unreal to actually have control over. If you don't do this, you're not going to be able to control your curve in Unreal Engine. The other thing is, here inside the extra files, you can see I have the textures that I'm using for the materials are here. The barbed wire, the chain link, the steel, even the street lamp OBJ is here embedded in this asset. And how you do this is you just select it here. You can just click here, select any object you wanna add. Let's add this call, and then just say add file, and it's saved there. Once you say apply and accept, it will be included in the asset. So let me just delete that. I don't want it there. And the other thing is your shaders should be here in the asset as well. I have a shop net here. So I have a fence, a barbed wire, and a steel material. And you can see for the fence, in the diffuse channel, I have this weird way to access the texture, def, colon, /, then question mark, and then the name of the file as it is in the asset. Here, this name here. So this is how you access those files there. The same thing I'm doing for the lamp. Actually, if I go here to the lamp, you can see this is a file, but it's not importing anything. It's calling that file from that location. Which is pretty cool. So that way you have everything in your asset. The other thing is you need to have PNGs with alpha or other object that has alpha for stuff that you wanna had alpha in Unreal. Like this fence needs the alpha to be there. And the weird thing that you need to do is just go to the opacity tab here and lower the opacity a little bit, and that will make Unreal just make this object transparent and use the alpha from the main texture. It's weird, but that's how it is. The same thing I'm doing here for the barbed wire. I have that texture there, and then in the opacity I'm just putting that down a little bit, and it says, all right, you want opacity? Cool. That's it. And the steel is just simple. This is not, doesn't have any opacity. So it's just a texture for making these guys look like metal. And I think that's it. After all that stuff's done, you can have your pretty cool asset in Unreal Engine and just play. Let's just see the Unreal Engine part. You can see the lights that I'm instancing here are this blueprints. You can see this is a blueprint. Contains a few things. You can see it contains the cone of light there. Contains a point light that it's just illuminating, and this cone of light is just a simple cone with a wireframe. You can see that's a cone with a texture on it to give it that kind of a foggy look. And then this gets instanced into every point that I'd set in Houdini. Once you have all that done and you're running in Houdini, it looks like this. Pretty cool. You can jump over it. You can see I can stand on the collision asset there. It's a little bit foggy, a little bit mysterious. Looks pretty cool. This way you can build your levels pretty quickly with the power of procedural modeling in Houdini. You see, this is pretty simple. This is a nice asset, but you can build whatever you want and just use the power of Houdini inside Unreal Engine. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and we will have more details in my site, mixtrn.com. So if you're interested in more details, please go there and find more information about this and other topics. Alright, thank you for watching. This is BetaMix for Mix Training, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Cheers!